How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we have with us Connor Kenny. He's going to be jumping in, talking about the market, talking about the record that was just set by the Bitcoin ETFs, the fear in the market, what he's looking at buying, all that. If you don't mind, though, before we get started, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video, comment underneath the video if you want to see Connor in future videos and what you might want us to talk about. There's also links down there to Margex in case you want to trade cryptocurrency, whether you're trading long and betting that the market's going to go up, or if you want to short the market, think that's going to go down, you can do that with a link underneath the video. You can also do it at CoinW as well. I'll also leave links to Conor underneath the video in case you want to go check out his channel. We just did another video on his. It may be dropped by the time you see this. It might be coming out in a little bit, but we talk about even more stuff than what we're talking about today, and I give some of my opinions on the market. Connor, thanks so much for jumping on.
What is up, my financial friend? Good to be back.
Yeah, good to have you. Let's jump right into it. So Bitcoin obviously falling a little bit. It seems like we were already a little bit weak, maybe at 66, 67,000, 68,000 yesterday, but we're down 6% here today. And I just saw, last night that Grayscale had a record outflow, 643 million. And this was the single biggest individual ETF outflow in nearly 15 years across all ETFs. So kind of surprising there. Maybe not so surprising if you know how the ETF is set up compared to the other ETFs. But what does this mean to you? Like, why are they doing this? Why are people selling the ETF so much?
Well, I mean, it's still just the same thing in my opinion. It's just people getting out of the market. I think we're naive to think, and I might be the naive one here, but I think that everyone's naive to think that we're not going to have mass panic and mass selling just because it's on ETFs. Like, because I hear this notion a lot in the market, and it doesn't sit well with me. Now, I'm not a long-term experienced investor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm pretty experienced in what I've been doing. I focus on crypto though, but it doesn't seem to me, there's no reason to me that people won't panic in the same way. It won't be as harsh, but I still think that people will go into their brokerages and go, you know, yes, we have institutions, and yes, we have retirement accounts, and yes, but we're only like 2 months into the ETFs, right? So there is a bit of that ETFs, which is just people who've just bought it on their phones who are like, oh, I couldn't be bothered to sign up to Binance, but now I can sign up to whatever the American accounts are, whatever the English accounts are. I've signed up to them, and oh, I don't want this asset that's going down. It's going down. So I still think partly is to do with that panic selling and things like that. Then we have, of course, the expense ratios. So people are still just getting out. They're just getting out of the market. They see that Bitcoin is at past all-time highs. So they're like, 1.5%, I'll get rid of it now. Maybe when it was at 40K or 50K, they were like, oh, I'll just keep it. I don't really care. But now they've made a significant more amount of money. They're like, okay, it's time. I'll jump out here. That's good for me. And then there's just like a cascading effect of that happening. And I think people are just going about how they always have done, and the market will move in the way that it's always moved, even with the ETFs. I don't think it's going to stop market volatility. And that's my thought process, really.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really interesting if there's a breakdown, and I don't think there ever will be, but a breakdown of the IBIT BlackRock trust that's bought by like financial advisors versus just people managing their own money. Because obviously through a financial advisor, there's another hurdle to sell. And you're probably not going to your financial advisor every day, like, hey, buy this, sell this, buy this. No, it's probably a little bit longer term approach compared to something like an individual that's holding it. So it would be interesting to see that broken down, because I agree with you. People that are buying it themselves can sell IBIT just as easily as they can sell Bitcoin through Coinbase. And you actually have less fees, which is one of the reasons that I bought some of that. Like, I've sold some of my Bitcoin to put it into IBIT.
Yeah, and what exactly? So perfect. Like, a lot of people probably did that. And a lot of people who were already planning to sell at the old all-time highs probably swapped over. They were like, "Oh, perfect! I'll just put it in my normal brokerage. Then I'll quickly access it when it hits all-time highs, and I'll just sell it." So, like, I think that's happening. Also, of course, we have forced selling. I'm not sure exactly how much, like, the FTX bankruptcy has left, and all of the people who have got the forced selling of the Grayscale. It's like we were always going to see these sorts of sell-offs, in my opinion.
Yeah, and tomorrow we do have the Fed rate decision. Obviously, those have been kind of like a nothing burger. Not much has happened. They've just been keeping rates, but it always freaks out the market a little bit if Jerome Powell talks about not cutting rates for a while. That happens in about 24 hours. If someone were to come to you and say, what's going to happen to crypto in the next 24 hours? What do you say to them? Like if they're only worried about the short term?
Is the person short term wondering if they should start getting into the market, or are they short term trying to trade it? What's sort of like the nuance around that question?
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's like a good friend that you had in high school or something. That's always been that like friend that wants to buy when the bull market starts, and then they're like freaked out when it falls down a little bit, but they want to add more if it's going to go up, like that kind of person.
I would say, dude, today's gone down load. Just, you've been yabbing on to me about buying Bitcoin. Just buy a bit. And if it goes further down, just buy a bit more. And then if it goes to zero, don't come crying to me, because my entire net worth's in Bitcoin. So I'm also lost all my money. But that's what I would do. So if you want to listen to me, which I don't advise anyone does, then just buy a bit of bloody Bitcoin. All right. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like more friends are coming out like that you talked to a while ago. Or,
dude,
yeah,
every
or you
day
tried to tell them to buy.
I at least have maybe 4 or 5 people now reaching out to me. And I'm like, not only do I make videos every day where you can get my opinion. I literally make a video every day, so you can literally get my opinion on what I think is happening every day. So you don't need to message me, especially if you're not like one of my really close friends. You're just reaching out because you want like free advice, right? But it's the same. My advice is the same. I'm still in it. And we're holding. And you should have bought in the bear market.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is hard for newer people to come watch our channels because we're like so in it that we oftentimes just give updates. And I had someone ask me, like, I have no idea what your portfolio even looks like. You know, I watch your videos, but I don't know because it's been a while since you updated it. So like I updated it to the Patreon groups today to give them a little bit more insight. But I had someone reach out from a job that I worked 4 years ago. They were a client of ours, and they hadn't talked to me since the last bull market. And they basically asked me like everything about the market. Like, okay, hey, I have some Bitcoin, but I want to buy more. Do you think now is a good time? Or do you think I should be selling it? Where do I buy it? I don't really know that much about it. And it's like, that's everything about crypto investing. Like you're just asking me everything. Like give me a 2-hour tutorial. So it is a little bit frustrating, but obviously that's going to happen way more during the bull market. There are going to be so many people that buy for the first time at 80,000, 90,000, 100,000. But that's good to know. You know, in the short term, doesn't really matter. Buy if you want more, basically, is what it sounds like. If you don't want more, just hold off. What do you think about like the coming months going into the Bitcoin halving? Do you think that's fundamentally bullish? Do you think we're just going to have a cool off period and then it's going to take us a while to maybe hit where we just were? What do you think?
Well, I think that I have no idea. So that's the end of that. No, joking. Like, obviously, like, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry for anyone who's watching, but we don't know what's going to happen. All right. We just don't know. Now, we can look at the history, and the history tells us we have a pullback before the halving. Everyone thinks crypto's dead. And then we go on to the actual bull run. That's what history tells us. Right. So that's probably what's going to happen, but with slightly different steps. Like, it won't be exactly the same thing. This pullback that we're seeing right now might be the pullback that happens before, because the last one we had, we also happened to have COVID at the same time, right? So this could be it. This might be all the pullback we get before we go parabolic, or we do have a much, much steeper pullback than we've ever had before, and everyone thinks it's dead. Whatever the majority of people aren't expecting is what's probably going to happen, right? So we spoke probably a month ago here, and I was saying to you that I think that this time is not different. I think it's exactly the same thing, right? There's no way we're going to have a pullback. You were like, nah, it's not going to be a pullback. And I'll be wholeheartedly honest here. Over the last week, I've been going, maybe this time is different. Maybe we're not going to have a pullback, right? It didn't change my investment style. My investment style stays the same. I don't care about what I think, my emotions, blah, blah, blah. I get in early, I take profits, don't care. But I have been mentally paying attention to myself, where my thought process has been, oh, wait, maybe it is different, right? Maybe it is. So I try and check myself when that happens. This time is not different. We will have pullbacks, and this is just one of those pullbacks. So I'm only really heavily allocated to the things that I believe in. And because I don't know what's going to happen, I just have to wait to see. And if we do go down, I never would have taken it. I never would have sold. I would have sold my whole bag. So I will just go down with the ship, right? But the way I make the best of any situation is I buy when I see viable dips. Right now, I actually think it's a viable dip. That's why I have some long positions open with leverage, right? Low leverage, long positions. And I've added to those positions on this dip because I think that this is a viable dip. I could be wrong and those positions will be stopped out, no problem. But that's what I think, right? I don't think that this dip's going to last. I don't think we're going to get a 50% dip. I do think probably we'll get a little bit more pain, but then most likely, and what I'm hoping is that we just do sideways action until the halving. We get an alt season in and around that time. And yeah, then Bitcoin can get back on its way once we flushed everyone out.
Yeah. And it is interesting because we always follow the cycles and they do seem to rhyme every single cycle. The peaks are around the same times, the bottoms are around the same times, but they're always slightly different. Like right now, recently we talked about whether we were going to have a dip, and I said I don't really know if we will have one. And honestly, we might still be higher than when we talked about that because we haven't seen much of a dip, and we've moved up 20% in the last month. So like this is still really bullish. Like if you had just checked out for the last month, you're on vacation and came back, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. We're up 20%. But obviously, like short term, yeah, we're going to have some dips. And even the bear market was different. We fell below the previous all-time high. So we went down below that 19K. And we hit all-time highs before the halving too. So yeah, this is a little bit different.
So I got a lovely big push in my portfolio March 10th. So 9 days ago, right? But on March 9th, my portfolio was about 10% lower than it is today. So like in 10 days, 10 days ago, my portfolio was lower than it is today, and we're in a dip. So it's like that's a really good, that's the mindset you have to have. Like the mindset of just, if you had to come back, if you had to like beamed yourself here and you're suddenly here, you look at your, oh wow, we're still very much on track. Oh, we had a high, but I was asleep during that high, so it doesn't really matter because I'm still here. I did, and then once this becomes a high or low, you'll look back on this and be like, oh, thank God I didn't sell then.
Yeah. I'm really excited that we're having this dip, honestly. I mean, we had talked about it, that we kind of needed something, like even if it's just 10 or 15%, like there's too much craziness going on. There's too much leverage. There are too many people that are just getting in now. Like flush some of those things out and then let's keep on rallying up. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Conor. We're going to cut off here. Maybe in future videos, we can have you on, talk about what you're buying or something like that. But obviously that could take a while because I don't want to cut you off after just a few minutes of it. Really want to dig into some of the cryptos you're looking at. If you want to see that, definitely write us in the comment section. Conor, thanks so much for coming on. Any closing thoughts?
If you want to see what I'm buying every single day, I make videos about that every single day on my channel. So head down to the description. I made one just today where we found a banger. I've done like an 8x today. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, definitely go check them out. Also check out the links to Margex. Thanks so much, Conor. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.